All right, we're back with more Monday Night Wars. This is week 25 of the war. This was the 151st episode of Monday Night Raw. It went back on the USA Network from San Antonio, Texas, USA, March 18th, 1996. The ratings for this Raw were 2.9 and for Nitro 3.6. So down 0.7 to Nitro, but they still drew a pretty decent rating, just under 3 before heading into WrestleMania. This is 13 days before WrestleMania. After this week's loss, the scoreboard now through 25 weeks is 10 wins for Raw, 13 wins for Nitro, and 2 draws all time. So 10, 13, and 2. So Nitro is consistently winning lately, but Raw is drawing good numbers as well. This Raw drew to a 2.9, and it was brought to you by The King and Vince McMahon. Davey Boy Smith versus Jake the Snake Roberts is the first match of the night. Bulldog ties up with Jake the Snake, who works the arm area. He goes into a hammer lock and then elbows the Bulldog, and he ties him up. Jim Cornette is in the Bulldog's corner here. Jake the Snake stomping away on the Bulldog. Bulldog stomping away on Jake the Snake, rather, and then chokes him out with his boot. Jake the Snake tries to fight it back, but he was slowed down by the Bulldog, who misses a leg drop. Jake the Snake Roberts pummels him from behind as Cornette keeps interfering. Jake the Snake Roberts hits the DDT, but the Jake the Snake was pulled off by Bulldog by Cornette. McMahon yells, "Disqualify him, ref!" Jake then goes for the Python and chases Jim Cornette around the ring. Jake the Snake Roberts counted out, but he didn't care. So as a result, the Bulldog won the match by countout at 4:52. I rated it a 1.5 stars. They talk about HBK and Bret and say he's a better role. Bret says he's a better role model than Shawn. HBK talks about learning every single day when training in the ring, his roots to Mexican wrestling with Jose Lothario, his trainer, how he learns every single day. And Bret, they show Bret running in the winter Calgary. They show him running and jogging around the city, and then he talks about how Shawn is not. This isn't a dance competition, and how Shawn is, it's good to have an ego, but it's bad to be cocky and obnoxious. And he thinks that the kids should look up to Bret and not Shawn. They're totally different people, but they're the same at the same time. So it's an unbelievable contrast. And watching these pre-WrestleMania Iron Man match videos are really interesting. Goldust next with Marlena took on Fatu. Goldust and Piper highlights shown from last week where Roddy Piper gave Goldust a shot, and Goldust, when he lifted up Piper's skirt and said he wants to take him to the back lot. Goldust wears a kilt to the ring. Piper's on the commentary, though, and says when Goldust or the King wears a kilt, it's a skirt, but when he wears it, it's a kilt. Marlena with a cigar showing her personality on the outside, or lack of it. Fatu and Goldust in the ring. This would be the same two men that started the 2002 Rumble as Rikishi and Goldust some 6 years later after this event. Fatu with a back body slam to Goldust. He kept it even on during the match. Fatu with a couple hard rights in the midsection. Roddy Piper says during the backlot brawl it's going to be a street fight because anybody that's seen him on the streets knows that it's going to be a war. Piper watches on as Goldust wins, and Marlena blows smoke into the camera right after Goldust pins Fatu at 4:39 with the curtain call. Basic matchup. I gave it a 1.75 stars. Marlena and Goldust did their I'm going to kiss you but not kiss you type movements. They were really ahead of their time. This was Attitude Era-esque. Camp Cornette comes out. Vader, Owen, and Davey Boy Smith are here to cut a promo on Yoko Ahmed and Jake the Snake because it's going to be a 6-man tag at WrestleMania. They were challenged on Superstars last week, so they're accepting the challenge. Cornette and Owen do the bulk of the talking here. It was a pretty good promo. They look forward to the 6-man. Owen says that Jake the Snake's a slimy serpent that's going to get what he has coming to him, and he's going to squeeze what little life he has left out of Jake the Snake. He says Yokozuna that he carried Yokozuna when they were a tag team. I can't find any faults in Owen Hart's points here. And then Bulldog says that Ahmed isn't the strongest man in the World Wrestling Federation, but the Bulldog is the strongest man in the World Wrestling Federation. And Cornette finds out that if Yokozuna's team wins, that he gets 5 minutes alone with Jim Cornette in the ring. And Jim Cornette does his heel freak out where, he acts like a coward and begs and all that kind of stuff that he used to do in the NWA back in the 80s. Diesel versus Barry Horowitz. Diesel attacks a HBK. They showed a clip of Diesel attacking HBK at a house show. They had a video of it when he turned his back. I believe it was an MSG house show. I could be wrong, though. They had it was well lit for a house show, so I don't know if it was MSG. They usually have everything blacked out in the outside of the ring. This was well lit, and it showed Diesel slamming his chair into Shawn Michaels' back. Just last week, he pummeled Paul Bearer, and now this week in the match with Barry Horowitz, Paul Bearer brings a new casket to the ring, while Diesel is taking on Barry Horowitz. Horowitz came from behind with a dropkick when Diesel was distracted. McMahon questions, what if Barry Horowitz can pull this upset off? Yeah, beating Skip at SummerSlam is one thing, but beating Diesel on this new role is quite another. Diesel isn't even paying any attention to his opponent Barry Horowitz when he covers him after a simple punch, and Diesel gets the victory at 2:09. He's paying attention to Paul Bearer, who pushes a casket towards the ring. Diesel goes outside, and I give the match a half a star. The star wasn't really important here. It's what happened is that was important. Diesel comes around the ring, and he looked inside the casket only to find himself in there. It was just a look-alike. They had zoomed in on the beard, so it looked like Diesel, but we could only assume that it didn't look too much like Diesel because they never showed a full shot of his face. So Diesel gets spooked and looks horrified as he walks away. Diesel had a look of horror, says McMahon, and says, Diesel just saw the result of WrestleMania. Well, don't give it away, Vince. Next up, we got Bret Hart versus Tatanka in a non-title match. Tatanka and the $1 Million Corporation were shown backstage before this match, and DiBiase was saying, can we have any privacy here? I didn't think to mention it initially, but they were planning the 1, 2, 3 Kid to interfere. That was the plan anyway. Bret Hart was this match was just shown to show that he's in condition and he's got how hard of a path he has on the way to WrestleMania. Hart with the arm wringer torques the arm and hyperextends the elbow. Tatanka with a sheer sign of life kicking Bret down while the 1, 2, 3 Kid came to the ring. This is what they planned backstage. I didn't think it was significant again enough to mention until I saw the 1, 2, 3 Kid come to the ring. Tatanka with a sidewalk slam and then a headlock slapped on. We go to a commercial. Back from a commercial, Tatanka had been dominating during the break apparently. A side headlock by Tatanka. Bret fights back, but Tatanka slows that down as he slams into the mat hard. Tatanka coming off with a clothesline, but Bret hit with a hard shot to the abdomen and a side Russian leg sweep. Bret with an atomic drop, a backbreaker, his signature middle rope, elbow, and then the sharpshooter, but DiBiase's on the apron. Bret goes to knock DiBiase off, but finds the 1, 2, 3 Kid on the other side of the apron. The 1, 2, 3 Kid then grabs Bret. Tatanka goes to nail Bret, but Bret ducks, and he hits the 1, 2, 3 Kid off the apron instead. That move where the heel grabs the face and the heel goes to hit the face, but the face ducks and hits the heel. Well, yeah, 1, 2, 3 Kid goes flying off as Tatanka hit him. And then Bret Hart does an inside cradle on Tatanka and then wins at 8:48. So pretty decent match here, though. I rated it 2.5 stars. The Hitman poses at the WWF Championship held high, and the King brings up the point that this could be the last time we see Bret as the champion, which is a good point. The show closed with the billionaire Ted Skits. They asked if he was in front of a court, if he was creating a monopoly and trying to put the WWF out of business, and they've repeated that question 6 times. McMahon's getting hot at the WCW here, getting into Ted's power over not only the wrestling business, but the television industry, how he could control up to 50% of broadcast television, and if this concerns anyone, to write, and they left a person's name and number to write. So McMahon is getting really anxious and pissed off at Turner and Bischoff both. This is the time of when McMahon was praying that Bischoff would die. Remember that when King says that when Bischoff hugs Vince on 2002 Raw, where Bischoff becomes the Raw in July of 2002. King says, I sit in the same broadcast room when Vince would wish death upon Eric Bischoff. Yeah, this is around that time. And it only got worse as the year goes on, which is making the Monday Night Wars even better. I gave this episode another pass, another 5 out of 10 rating. Last week, I believe it was 5.5, but this week, another 5, because there was some good WrestleMania build. I'm enjoying not only the Ted skits, but the Bret and Shawn video packages. Diesel's character is also extremely cool. They did a nice job building to the 6-man and Piper and Goldust. There was no fantastic wrestling other than the Tatanka Bret match, but there was the build that they did a good job at. And like I said in the last review, the build to pay-per-views hadn't been too great for the WWF, but they're getting better at that on Raw now these days. So again, Raw scores a 2.9 to Nitro's 3.6. Nitro wins the week, but Raw's picking up momentum. So that's it for the 25th week. I'm Bret Mix. Thanks for watching this review. See you on the next one.